Hey, what's going on, guys? We're gonna be streaming, and I know we're low on credits, but I have a good reason for that. And the reason is I've been buying cars. Let me show you my car collection. I have 58 cars. The Ford GT 2006 is one of them. Obviously the GTR Nismo is one of them. The Shelby GT350R. Oh, sorry, excuse me. The Plymouth Superbird, the Lamborghini Murcielago, the DeLorean DMC12. Okay, I don't know what the S2 is. The Lamborghini Gallardo, the Mustang GR3. There's just been such a... I don't even know. There's just so many cars that I've been collecting. Well, and by the way, I have kind of determined something. I have taken a vast interest in these Volkswagen Golf GTIs. Particularly the GTI trim level. I like the plaid seats. I really like those seats being like that. But specifically, the reason I've been interested in getting one is because they're actually somewhat affordable, easy to learn manual cars. So I'm going to be getting one. However, the one I'm getting has a little bit more horsepower in real life. It would be the 2017 Volkswagen Golf GTI with the Autobahn Performance Package, which comes, I think, with 220 horsepower. So, I mean, it's a little bit more horsepower. And so for today, for my drink that I've selected, I've chosen the new NOS flavor that just dropped, the Grand Prix Java. I don't think I'm gonna like this, but I mean, you know, I quit drinking NOS not because I don't like the flavor of actual, like, just plain NOS, but I kind of miss the days when you could just get any flavor of NOS you wanted, like, and they have options and choices. I mean, they have GT Grape, and that's okay, but I don't know, it's not the same as, say, their cherry flavored. Yeah, this flavor really isn't for me. I'll drink it, but it's not my favorite. I can tell you that already. Just from that, like, little bit. It's just too... I don't know, it's not my flavor. I'm hoping by buying this, hoping that NOS ends up bringing back cherry. Or at least their fruit punch. Their fruit punch NOS was premium. And many people that are just starting to drink NOS have no idea what I'm talking about. But back when I was in, like, high school, I had all kinds of flavors of NOS. Yeah, this Ford GT is really quick. Put this in the driving sim mode. 230 miles an hour. It's pretty quick. I've seen this go 240 on this particular track on the Daytona 500. The real trick is learning how to steer. If you go very subtly, you can retain a lot of your speed and momentum around each corner and curve. We're going to achieve 340. Oh, we tapped a car. It's okay, we recovered. I don't like this aftertaste, honestly. This is not my flavor. Not my preferred flavor of NOS. I'll drink it to say I did the whole thing. But they chose that sour apple flavor, which is not like the world's worst flavor, but... So Grand Prix Java has been released in April 2026, and they taste like shit. I'm sorry guys, it just tastes like shit. See, like, this is why I stopped supporting NOS, is they're not making the flavors that I want. And it's just like... petition to bring back 50s. I'll sign this petition. We'll bring back NOS Cherry Energy Drink. Listen to this. The issue. NOS Cherry Energy Drink was without a doubt the best flavor in the NOS lineup. Facts! Fucking facts! Fucking facts. It can't be matched by other drinks. Why then was it taken from us? Like many fans of the cherry flavor, I was baffled, was disappointed, and by its discontinuation. It was simply the choice that got me through the long days and energetic nights. Signed petition. I'm gonna sign this petition. I am going to support this. I am going to pay money to this petition. I miss loaded cherry. Loaded cherry was one of the best flavors of anything I've ever like tasted in my life. It truly was so addicting. This GABA juice bullshit. It just not can. Like, yeah, they're focused on mango flavored. You know, NOS can taste really good, but like, I don't know, man. The sour apple just, it's not, Sonic Sour is not bad. It's just not as good as cherry. You know, GT Grape is about a 50-50. Like, it has its own particular fan basis, I'm sure, but it doesn't compare to cherry. This Grand Prix flavor, GABA juice, if they get rid of it and replace it with cherry NOS, we'd have a solid lineup. I'm gonna mention that. I'm gonna start a comment war on NOS Energy's official like Instagram page. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna restart this. I'm gonna make a comment because they're so proudly promoting this, and honestly, it's kind of mid. And I'm not saying that because I'm not a fan of their decision making. This is not I'm choosing not to like it because they made a decision I don't like. I don't know, it's the GABA juice itself is just not my particularly favorite flavor. It's not my favorite fruit. It's not my favorite. And just because I don't like it doesn't mean there's not a market for it. And I'm sure there is. But this really just seems like a way to diversify flavors, and as a matter of fact, I truly think the move came from Monster Energy, you know, wanting to obviously have Monster Energy cans not be outsold by NOS cans, but also, you know, I don't know, man, maybe they were afraid that the cherry flavor of NOS would outsell the big parent company, and so they got rid of it. That's the only like logistics thing I could think of that would motivate them to try to get rid of it, because I mean, like, dude, it was so good. It's like, I don't know if you guys have heard of the soda brand Faygo, but where I come from in Ohio, it's a Michigan based soda company, so it's kind of popular here. You know, especially with me, I'm one of well, I'm not going to say I'm one of their biggest, you know, people that promote it, but I like Faygo. Some people don't. I do. I think Faygo is pretty based. But the blue raspberry is my favorite flavor. Fuck you, Tesla. I'll bump you out of the way if I want to. There's another one. Boom. Oh, hey, why are you spinning me up? Come on, we're just bullying the electric car here. There's nothing, there's surely nothing wrong with that. No, you don't. That's why I finished, bitch. I love bullying Teslas. And their owners too. Seriously, who would buy a Tesla? Let's start this comment war. Let's go to Nas Energy's Instagram. Cherried out was the last official like cherry flavor. Alright, it says Grand Prix Gava Juice Knott's flavor is out now. Type honestly. And the fruit punch. Alright, that's my first comment on that post. What the fuck? This person has a can of cherried out. Everyone is saying the same thing. Dog, that is wild.
Followers, Coach Pete here to do another Saturday Energy drink review. You say, Coach Pete, what are you doing your drink review on? Well, before I get to that, alright, I'm on social media, and I met up with a good buddy of mine, and he does a lot of reposting on videos, so I'm going to have to collect, alright? I got my buddy, Baker, alright, so you got Coach Pete, Drew Baker, and we're going to do a little energy drink review. Flavor drop. Alright, we got a new flavor drop out there today, guys. What is that drop? It's the NOS Guava Free. So, actually, I said it wrong. It's the Gran Turismo Guava. Okay, so we got
Guava.
free guava here. Not sugar free. So, I'm just going to be doing a little sipping. Alright, Drew, he prefers the sugar free also, correct? Alright, so we're going to be sipping on this one, alright? But we're going to let you know what it's like. I'm excited. NOS is one of my favorites. Drew, where's the NOS right for you? It's probably fourth. Okay. Alright, a little higher for me, a little less for him, but that's okay. Alright. So, again, Drew, tell him.
Monster ranks pretty low for me personally.
Top music person. If you're under 18, you have to have your parents' permission. Yep. So, hey, again, be careful with these, okay? I saw where a 17-year-old had some heart issues, okay? Again, 17, not 18. So if they had your parents' permission, might have worked out better. Alright, here we go, we're cracking it open.
Bro, I was chugging them bitches down in high school, bro. I would drink like 5 or 6 a day, bro. I don't want to hear about heart issues, bro. If people are having heart issues, then I must have a fucking Superman heart, bro. Because of like, dude, I would chug down 3 or 4 NOSes and take a few like 5-hour energy shots, bro. I was crazy back then, bro. I've slowed down quite a bit, not because I'm concerned about my heart, but just because I just can't afford to do it anymore, you know, because now I have all these bills and shit.
I see. If you do not like this flavor, there is something wrong with your taste buds. Okay?
What?
This one, I know I gave that Scraping Freedom from Form Energy, I gave that a 9.1, right? That was
What the
good.
fuck?
This is 9.3. Okay? This is 9.3. Will I buy this again? It's got a little sugar in it, so probably not. No, please put that flavor for us, okay? Please, you only got one out there. Let's get some more. Please, taste wise, if you're good with the sugar, please, get out there and try it. Try it with your see, that's what I prefer too, because again, NOS is like one of his favorites, so they said that goes to a 9. It's a good flavor, guys. You're not gonna be disappointed. Get out there and try it if you can find it. Alright, I found mine at QT, so that's where they are right now, $5. So anyway.
Dude, maybe I'm the problem. See, this really, to me, tastes like watered down pipeline punch. Fucking Monster energy drink. Bro, that shit is so mid. I don't know why. I don't know, bro. That just seems like trend chasing to me. I don't feel like that guy's review was genuine. I just feel like he just sipped it on it per a second, bro. And just saying that because it's the new flavor, I think it's just the hype. Because I don't get the hype behind this, bro. This is so ass. This shit is so cheeks, bro. Even though I'm drinking it, sure, but I'm drinking it just because I have nothing else to drink at the house. I have nothing but water. And it's late and I wanted to stream, so I needed some energy. Personally, I would just stick to the default flavor of NOS. That's just my opinion. Call me a hater if you guys want. Hopefully we got a 4-star thing. Let's see if we can. What car did I unlock this for? Lamborghini Veneno. What the fuck is even that? I'm sorry guys. What the fuck is that? Veneno. I've never seen that Lamborghini. Oh, dude, I'm done with this. I'm pouring this shit out. I'm sorry. Sure. Give me parts to a car I'll never be able to afford. This is the Lamborghini Veneno. And it is $3.6 million. Dude, what the fuck? Well, you know what this means. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pour this shit out. I couldn't finish it, Chief. I'll be brutally honest with you guys. I could not finish this. It is about, I'd say about half and a quarter. I'd say it's a little under half drinking. I don't like the guava flavor, the whatever it is. I just don't. I'm not a personal fan of this flavor. If people are, that's perfectly fine. Cool for you guys, but I'm keeping the can to say I drink it so I can be like, hey, that shit tastes like an ass. I will be substituting that with a Sunkiss orange soda. I do like the orange sodas. I like Fanta, I like the Faygo, I like Crush, Sunkiss. I honestly couldn't rank them just because I kind of like all of them. I'd say probably Fanta probably tastes the best out of a 2-liter. I'd say, well, I could say the same thing about Crush, honestly. And you ever notice how every like orange soda flavor that there is, like every brand that does like orange soda also does grape soda? Like Sunkiss, Crush, and Fanta all have their grape counterparts. I always thought that was kind of funny. Like I kind of, as a kid, I noticed that. But I, like as an adult, like when I'm at like a Speedway or whatever, I'm getting stuff, I kind of always kind of noticed that, but I just never said it out loud. But it's true. every orange soda that there is. I don't know a single one that doesn't do this, but they also have a grape. You know, I don't know a single orange soda brand or company or whatever that just exclusively only makes orange soda. Like they always add like a grape flavor. Which leads me to a second question. Why doesn't Sunkist have like a blue raspberry flavor? If they make it just as good as this, if they implement the flavor just as good as this, it would be fucking amazing. But Faygo, on the other hand, I think actually, yeah, Faygo is like the only other brand soda that I really know that I can honestly sit back and say, hey, they basically have almost every flavor under the sun. But then again, Faygo isn't for everybody. Not everybody likes Faygo. I like Faygo. Okay. So now that we know we have to unlock the $3.6 million fucking Lamborghini, let's, oh man, dude, that's one hell of a grind. Tokyo Expressway. But you know, I don't really hate Honda as much as I used to. But now, after like looking at like used 90s Hondas, I gotta say they're overrated. Hondas and Toyotas are overrated. I'll say it, I've always thought about it like that. I always thought these things were pretty useless pieces of junk. And I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna say it. I'm not afraid to say it. I will come out and say it. I think these cars are overpriced. I feel like you're paying a lot of money for dog shit. And a lot of Honda people can get on me about it. A lot of Honda people can say, well, you don't know, you don't understand the reliability of the car. I don't give a fuck about the reliability of the car. Okay, these things perform like shit. All right, they're overpriced. Like a '93 Civic. I've seen this. Where a '93 Civic is $6 grand. It's got 224,000 miles. Oh, it's got plenty of life left in it. It's got like, what are you gonna do? Drive the thing until it's like 400,000 miles and the fucking car sounds like it's falling apart? Like, dude, I don't doubt the Honda engines are that reliable, but we're talking about a car that's over 30 years old, dude. All right, we're talking about a car that's well over 30 years old. You know what I mean? And that's my issue with like 90s JDM. It's like the shit shouldn't be as expensive as it is, right? Like people are still wanting like $10,000, $8,000, $7,000 cars all day long. It's like, how can anybody, just like an entry level person, how can anyone start with that? It's not like it was in the 90s when, when these things were like $5-6 grand. You know what I mean? Like used. Obviously in the early 2000s rather. We used to be able to get these cars really cheap, and then you used to be able to modify them for not that much money. And it's like nowadays, and I hate to be that guy. I really hate to be that guy, but I'm going to be that fucking guy. I'd rather get a 2005 BMW over a fucking 90s Honda Civic with 240,000 plus miles. The same thing with the Toyotas. I don't care how reliable the engines are. All right, like. Here's a real fucking factor for you. No matter what car or what brand you drive, their control arms are still gonna rust out over time, especially like depending on where the car is. If it's in the north where it snows and they lay down salt, yeah, over time, the control arms and essential components of that car are gonna rust out over time. Or it happens to every car brand, especially if they get driven, like Hondas and Toyotas. They always get driven, right? They're not like Ferraris where they sit in a garage for half their entire life. and get constantly passed around in the garage. It never really gets driven, hardly ever. Maybe 1/10 of its life it gets driven. Like you can find 80s Ferraris or 70s Ferraris that only have like 40,000 miles on them, bro. And it's not because the Ferraris are unreliable. It's just because they're collector's items. These Hondas, these Toyotas, these Subarus, they're not really collector's items. They weren't meant to be collector's items. So, I think that JDM in general is overrated. I think it became the very thing it wasn't. You know what I mean? It wasn't supposed to be. And because of that, it's like, how can we honestly say that, like that these cars are great? We can't. I can't say that these cars are great. Why? Because, well, they're kind of built like shit. Like they use the cheapest fucking plastics for their panels. They crack, they separate, and it's like, yeah, but that's just the plastic. That doesn't mean anything. It's like, okay, but look, if I'm paying $5,000 for a car that's over 30 years old, I'd kind of, I kind of want something out of it. I'm not expecting it to be immaculate, but when the car sounds like it's falling apart, and then, when you go to shut your door, the fucking door panel wants to come off. It's like, dude, this is built like shit. You know what I mean? It's complete dog shit. It's like, the engine sounds like a fucking lawnmower. You know what I mean? With a straight pipe exhaust, and they cut off the resignators. Oh my god. It's like this car culture thing is just out of control, man. That's why I decided that my first manual was going to be a Volkswagen Golf. GTI. Sporty, fun, affordable. I mean, I'm going to finance it. I'm going to put a decent chunk down. I'm going to probably finance one in like the not 5,000, but in the $8 to $12,000 range, putting down at least $3,000. My payments would probably be $95, $96 a month. I would split that into 2 bi-weekly payments. I mean, it's like money that you would spend on a McDonald's meal. It's like door dashing a McDonald's meal. That's how cheap it would be to finance. And unfortunately, a lot of people are like, that's a really dumb idea. Well, my other 2 cars are paid off. I have a Ford Explorer, it's paid off. I have a Camaro, it's paid off. It's like, I want to learn manual, but I don't want to learn on somebody else's car, because if I fuck it up, I fucked up somebody else's property. It's kind of a general, like, rule of thumb. You kind of want to learn on your own car. I already know I'm going to burn a clutch. I already know that I'm going to tear up a car. I wouldn't feel bad about tearing up a Volkswagen Golf. I wouldn't feel as bad as tearing up a Volkswagen Golf as I would a Mustang or another Camaro or a Dodge Challenger. You know why? Because those cars are very expensive to fix. Those cars are very cool. And if you destroy a cool car, you're going to feel like shit. You're not going to feel cool anymore. That's just my opinion on the matter. And the Volkswagen Golf, I really like the plaid seats. I think it's interesting and cool. And I also like I just like the car. Like, they're decently sporty. I'm not really that big into the whole hot hatch thing. In my opinion, the hatchbacks that I prefer is like the Ford Focus RS, which is another option. It is another option if I can't find a Volkswagen Golf. But I'd prefer the Volkswagen Das Auto. No, but I don't know, man. I like the Volkswagen. My first car was a BMW. I loved that car, and it was pretty reliable until I destroyed it. Cars aren't really meant to go airborne, but when they do, they tend to, the struts, the control arms, the tie rods, the inner and outer tie rods, they tend to fold under pressure like a lawn chair, And I mean, like, when a car takes a beating like that, and it's just like when you have a kid that can't afford to fix the car, yeah, it kind of dies. Is it the car's fault that went airborne? No. It's the driver's fault. It's my fault. So, I get into these comment wars about BMW's reliability. And so I chalk it up to this, alright? It's just a bunch of people that either they don't want to take care of their cars, like they have an issue with, like, taking care of the car, and either they don't know how to take care of a car, So they go to the dealership. Now, in some instances, the oil used in the cars is imported by the drum, and you can't just buy it at your regular auto, your regular um, AutoZone or O'Reilly's. So yeah, you go to the dealership and pay $300 for an oil change. Yeah, that gets kind of annoying. True, that gets annoying, but that's just part of owning the car. The Germans, they designed it, they manufactured it, they engineered it a certain way, and it's meant to be treated and cared for a certain way. And if you don't try to do it their way, it's not going to work for you, buddy. And then you're going to get mad at the car and be like, whoa, my Toyota can go 40,000 miles over without having its oil changed, and the car doesn't. It's like, okay, because you don't take care of your cars, it's not the car's problem. That's your problem. It's about taking accountability. You know what I mean? And if that's something that people are not a fan of, then I don't recommend you buy a German car. And it's just that simple. And yes, there are issues. There are legitimate like water pump issues and other stuff like that. Stuff that's like premature malfunctions that shouldn't really happen. That's kind of bullshit every now and again. I get that. And there's these conspiracy theories of, oh, well, the BMWs are only meant to go so long and then they break down, so they make you buy a new one. That's not entirely true. They're a higher maintenance car. When you maintain them, they can be very reliable. Mercedes-Benz has the million-mile club. Why? Because a lot of their cars, when they were taken care of, lasted over 1 million miles. So the truth is, the modern car industry, because we can't exclude all German cars. Why? Because that's not fair. Because we can say the same thing about Kia. We could say the same thing about Ford and Chevy and Dodge, even to some extent. We can say the same thing about a lot of these car brands that make really shitty cars that don't last very long. They get you buy a new one. That's an industry-wide fucking practice. And, the only people that don't really, emphasize it too much are the Japanese. They like Mitsubishi, Toyota, Subaru, Honda. Do they make some shitty models? Yeah. Are there some bad years to look out for? Yeah. Are there models of cars that have really stupid and dumb features? Yeah. You know what I mean? Are there ugly Hondas and ugly Toyotas? Yeah, the Prius is a prime example. The Honda Fit is a prime example. The Honda Ridgeline's a prime example. These are all shitty cars. Does Honda and Toyota make the best luxury vehicles? By far, fuck no, they don't. They make overpriced commuters. And the reason they're overpriced is because the Honda Ridgelines I've seen are like 40 grand brand new. 40 grand, you're buying a man van. You're not even getting an actual truck. You know what I mean? You're not getting a capable vehicle. That if you were to pay 40 grand, you can certainly get a better vehicle. There are better options for that price point. Is the engine reliable? Can it last, 150,000 miles? Yes. Yes, it can. Yes, it will. But will it complete all of its duties and tasks? Probably not as effective as the Ford or the Chevy. But because it's American made, it's unreliable. Because it's this and that. It's some bullshit excuse. I find Fords to be very reliable. Everyone says fix and repair daily. I'll be brutally honest with you guys. I put 70,000 miles on my Explorer within a year. That's how much driving I did with that car. I went exploring with my Ford Explorer, and it has been such a great car. Now, am I prepared to replace the water pump? I'm getting money saved up to do that. I'm going to do that before it breaks down on me. It's called preventative maintenance, and guess what? If you practice this with all your cars, then guess what? They last longer, because guess what? You don't have to worry about them breaking down on you, and if you just fix it before it happens. Yes, it's proactive maintenance, but then again, it's a used car. It's a 2015. The year is 2026. That car is an 11-year-old vehicle. What do we expect? It's old. That's the thing is, so that leads me to another point here. When we're talking about 90s Hondas, these cars are over 30 fucking years old, dude. All right, these are not brand fucking new. All right, people's you know, it's so old. In fact, people's grandmas have been driving those cars, and then some teenager drove that car for a while, tore it up, and then, you know, some divorced dad or some nobody ended up getting it, and then, you know, ended up making it their daily for work or whatever, and made it last as long as they could, and then now you're like the fifth or seventh owner of a 30-year-old vehicle with over 260,000 miles, and it's just like, dude, it's not worth $5,000. It's a $200 car. All right, like let's be real. But just because it has this stupid Honda logo, the cars look like shit. They drive like shit. They perform like shit. They sound like shit when they're modified. I don't see the general appeal other than the fact they're reliable. And that reliability, in my opinion, does not forcefully retain the value of the vehicle. For some odd reason, it seems that it does. And I'll never understand that. Now, you know, something like an old Mustang or an old Camaro, sure, they're going to ask for a higher value. Why? Because those are more sought-after cars. The reason that these Hondas and Toyotas are priced the way they are for their age is because everybody wants them. And it's just that fact that there will be a buyer at some point that will pay the overpriced fucking bullshit for the car. I mean, to be fair, here's a real question. $5,000 buy you a 90 Civic, or $5,000 down on a brand new 2026 Civic for 20 grand. I mean, you know, options are options, guys. You know, and that's just the way that I see it. I just find Hondas and Toyotas, 90s Hondas, cool. 90s Toyotas, not so cool, but they had cool cars back then. 90s Nissan, Mitsubishi especially, with like the Evos, the Eclipse, the GT3000. Mitsubishi had some pretty cool cars. But I just feel like they're overpriced. I feel like it's hard to be an enthusiast of something that you're going to overpay for. And, you know, like, I'm sure, you know, you buy an old Honda for next to nothing. Like, I'd say a good value for a car with 200,000 miles is $500 to $800. You know, because it's gonna last over 300,000. You know it's gonna. You know it could last up to 500,000 miles. You know, as crazy as that sounds, you can push that kind of life out of a Honda. With the extensive care and whatnot. You could always swap the engine over to a different engine, which is popular. It's an expensive process, but once done, you know, and you swap over the transmission and everything like that, you know, yeah, that's great. But, you know, paying $5,000 for a 1990s Honda with over 250,000 miles, just to me, just 30 years old, high mileage, multiple owners, and then it's like 30 years is a long time. It's longer than I've been alive. Okay, I was born in 2002. The oldest car I've owned was a 2004 Mustang GT. You know, and I paid $11,000 for that. And guess what? I don't have that vehicle anymore. Why? Because the frame was rotted out. You know, it's like that car was so rotted out that there was no good metal to weld on any other welds. You know, like there's just no fixing it. You would just have to fucking rebuild the entire fucking car. And I don't have the time, money, resources to do that. So I had to fight the dealership tooth and nail for my money back. And eventually, you know, they allowed me to trade my Mustang for my Camaro that I have. Thank fucking God that I have a car that's reliable, that's well maintained, no rust at all. 2014. Now it's the LT, not the SS, so it doesn't have the LS3 engine in it. but it has the LFX engine, which is a 6-cylinder. It's a 3.6 liter engine, and it's really decent. You know, it doesn't have, it has a timing chain, not a timing belt, so you know it's pretty reliable. The internet says, you know, they can last up to 300,000 miles. Whether that's true or not, you know, I'll find out. But you know, I'm gonna do a little bit of modifications. You know, obviously, cold air intake. You know, replacing the intake manifold, putting that spacer in it for the intake manifold, doing a catback exhaust. You know, in a basic tune. Nothing too crazy, right? That's like the bare basics of any build, right? And it's like, you know, I don't know. I want to push, maybe it pushes already like 320 something horsepower. I want to at least get it at 370 horsepower, and I know that that's possible. You know, I mean, it's not a whole lot of horsepower difference, but you know, at the same time, you know, I've had people tell me, oh, it's not a real Camaro, it's not the SS. You know, these are the same people that don't even have a Camaro, let alone a sports car in general, you know, just talking out of their ass. So then it's like, my counter argument is, what constitutes a Camaro? You know, is it the engine inside of it? Is it the badge on the car? Is it the price of the car? Is it the year of the car? Because I'm going to tell you, a lot of those 90s Camaros weren't even pushing 280 horsepower. So is it the power that determines whether it's a real Camaro or not? You know, or does it have to be the the ZL1 or the Z28? You know, does it have to be like one of those to constitute it being considered a real Camaro? You know, like what's a real Mustang? Is it just any Mustang could be a Mustang, or does it have to be the GT model, or does it have to be the Shelby GT350 or GT500? Those are the real Mustangs. Or go a step further. Oh no, it's the Celine, or no, it's the Roush Mustangs, or no, it's the Hennessy engine swap. You know, like those are the real Mustangs, but it defeats the whole purpose, right? It shouldn't be this competition with trying to compete with others. I think that just financially it's straining, because we all make different amounts of money. We all have different financial priorities. I'm proud of my car. The 0 to 60 in like 5 seconds. All right, we're gonna lower that to like 4.8 seconds. You know, like my car is gonna be pretty quick. It's gonna be pretty fast too. Being quick and being fast are two different things. I think that's something we need to consider. 0 to 60 in 4 seconds is pretty quick, but it's not fast if the top speed is only like 120 miles an hour, 130 miles an hour. You know, fast is going, 200 miles plus. That's pretty fucking super fast. You know, I think generally speaking, when it really comes down to it, you know, how often are we going to be driving 200 miles an hour, or even 140 miles an hour, or even 100 miles an hour in general? You know, it's like, we're not going to be driving that fast all the time. There's not a road in America that allows you to go that fast. You know, when you go that fast, you are breaking the law. So it's like, you know, at the drag strip, or at the local car meets, or, you know, doing a pull when no one's around. You know, like that's when it's acceptable, right? But I don't know, there's the same token, we almost have enough for the Ferrari 458. The Toyota GT4, the Celica. These things are alright. They're kind of like the Supra before the Supra, you know? Not necessarily, you know, kind of like the poor man Supra. You know, but the difference between me saying that and someone saying your Camaro is not a real Camaro, the difference is this is a completely different car. Um, I'm kind of waiting for the Super to come back. I'll get the Celica for now. And I'm going to go ahead and check on the Legend cars and see if any other muscle cars have come up. Okay, there's the Super Bird. We already have that. Ooh, the 917. Dude. This is an actually legendary car. Nothing really too crazy. The C2 Corvette's kind of cool. You don't see too many of those. I see a lot of C3 Corvettes. Never see a C1 Corvette on the road, but C3s and higher, you know, is what I expect to see usually where I'm at. Let's go over to Brand Central. Let's go see. Let's go buy a Volkswagen Golf. Volkswagen Das Auto. This is the exact 2014. Yep, this is the exact Volkswagen Golf I'm looking at buying. Yep, with the dual exhaust. It's got those weird... I don't like those wheels per se, but it's whatever. You know, I'll find one with aftermarket wheels. But it's got those like front fins. Like if you look where the fog lights are, it's got those fins. I like that. I like the... Dude, I like this. $216. So this doesn't have the Autobahn performance package on, which I believe makes 220 horsepower. Volkswagen Das Auto. Let's go buy another car. Dodge Viper. Solid. How many cars do I have now? Garage. $53. Country. Germany. I'm pretty sure a Mini Cooper is actually a British brand. Okay, so there is the seventh generation Volkswagen Golf, but then there is the seventh generation Polo Golf. But I thought there was also a Club Sport. I mean, I could be totally tripping. Okay. And the Beetle. I've never liked these. I know some people. These are highly collectible cars. There's just so many companies make collector's items of those. The Fiat 500 is pretty common for Italy. The Nismo, the GTR Nismo. We have nothing for the United Kingdom. We got not for British lads. Okay, we got some American cars over here. Check this out. The Camaro Z28. We got the Corvette convertible, the C3 generation, the third gen. 1969. We also have a 69 Boss 429. Fucking crazy car. We got the Superbird. We got the Chevelle SS with the 454 big block. We got the DeLorean DMC 12. I don't know why it says S2. We got the Mustang GT from 2015. Camaro ZL1. Shelby GT350R, Camaro SS, Ford GT from 2006. I think my preferred year would be the 2005 model year. We have the SRT10 from 2006, the Viper. These things are badass. In the Mach 1, got the Charger RT. We got the Mustang GR3, GR3 spec. Dude, with all seriousness, like, we got some badass cars, bro. I wonder if they have any Fox body Mustangs with the 5.0. Man, those pushrod engines are pretty cool. No, but for real, dog, we got some cars, bro. Bus 429 in Burgundy. So beautiful. We haven't done shit to the car yet. Already this thing's outperforming everything on the thing. Also, speaking of Mazdas, as we just passed one in the game, the Mazda 6 Series is pretty solid too. Has been a contender for my first manual car, you know. But I think I'm settling on the Golf. I'm leaning more towards the Golf GTI, just because it would be slightly cheaper to insure. As well as the monthly payments would be very low. The maintenance is just a little bit high. You know, some of the issues are carbon buildup, obviously. Stuff because it's a turbo, so it'd be my first manual. It'd have a turbo in it, so it makes plenty of power. It's got all the cool sporty stuff that you can easily make really quick with a basic tune. There's a couple of like basic support mods you can add to it to make it a little bit more sporty. So that being said, I'd have the Volkswagen Golf, which is considerably a pretty sporty vehicle. I mean, it was the first car on the, it was number 15 on the most wanted list in the original Need for Speed Most Wanted was a Volkswagen Golf. You know, so I mean, they're kind of renowned to be very sporty hot hatches. So it's not like I'm getting nothing. It's not like I'm getting a car that's unrecognizable. You know, I'm getting something that is fairly recognizable, fairly sought after. You know, something with a little bit of fan basis and something that's pretty good to learn on and something that's going to teach me a lot of lessons when it comes to car appreciation. And obviously, me being a guy that's not into hot hatches, I'd have no problem getting rid of the car for something better. So, that being said, you know, should I get a manual Mustang after that? Sure, of course, why not? But I feel much more comfortable destroying a manual Volkswagen Golf than a manual Mustang. Alright guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. So I tried the NOS Gava flavor. Not a fan of it. I think they need to bring back the cherry flavor NOS. But, you know, stay tuned. I'm going to be doing some videos in real life about the Camaro with all like the modifications I'm going to be doing. So, when I do the tune, the exhaust, when I put in the high flow, you know, intake manifold and the cold air intake, possibly an upgraded throttle body and the like strut tower brace. Those are like the modifications I'm doing. Strut tower brace will slightly increase throttle response just by a little bit, and it also helps the suspension and helps stabilize the car. So, you know, it helps with handling. You know, not by a whole lot. It's not really noticeable, but yeah, I'll do another lap actually. We'll do another race. I'll keep streaming. I have a little bit of energy left in me. But yeah, so yeah, and then obviously, you know, it's gonna be a long time till I modify You know, if I do end up getting a Volkswagen Golf, it'll be a minute until I start modifying it. I gotta learn manual, I gotta master that car before I start doing stuff. Ford Focus ST in yellow too, nonetheless. Has also been a considerable option for me. I'm a Ford guy, but I definitely don't feel like a Ford guy driving the Camaro. But it's something about the Volkswagen Golf seats. It's like that weird like plaid design, like you know, kind of like flannel plaid kind of look to it that I think is kind of interesting. And even the shift knob is shaped like a golf ball. That was kind of funny. I love golf. But you know, I mean, like in terms of insurance, it would be a little cheaper to get a hatchback than it would something like, you know, something like a Pontiac Firebird or a Pontiac Fiero or something like that, you know. But yeah, that's just me. You know, I'm gonna go with whatever option I can finance at the cheapest, lowest rate. Obviously, I'm gonna put some money down. Financing cars is a very dumb decision in general, but when you know what you're getting into and you know what, you know, if you have an idea of like, hey, we're gonna be putting a lot of money down and we're gonna be getting the rate super low so we can afford to pay more on it so it can get paid off faster. Like, I would settle for a term limit of no more than 60 months. My goal would be to get the rate as low as $96 a month so I can make double payments every month. And I'd split them into bi-weekly payments, because if you pay twice a month, you're going to help tack down the interest rate. And that consistency, along with paying off my credit cards and then using those credit cards to pay for gas, because God, gas is expensive, you know, would basically give me just enough use of all my credit cards to build a pretty solid credit report. I would just have the car loan just as a way to build credit back. You know, because both my BMW and my Ford Explorer were financed, I paid off both car loans early. So that will affect part of the interest rate as well. So, I mean, you know, when I do up and get the Volkswagen Golf or the Ford Fiesta or the Ford Focus or whatever hatchback or whatever manual car I end up getting, whatever it's going to be, you know, because it's still kind of up in the air. But let's go back to the garage real quick. I want to show you guys what I'm looking at. Change car. Yeah, see those seats? See how it's got like that plaid design? I like that. I love those seats. Those seats are a huge part of what gets me interested in this car. Now the wheels could probably be replaced with like BBS wheels. Let me see if I can find the wheels that I would put on here. Honestly, these wheels don't look too bad on it. Okay, these are like JDM wheels. These definitely do not fit the bill. Yeah, something like these would be okay. Yeah, see, this would make sense because the lug nuts are in the same pattern. Yeah, I would put these on there. Honestly. Ozone Racing. These look like dog shit. I don't know. That looks okay, I guess. Not for everybody, but that's what I would do. Yeah, I like that carbon fiber. Stage 1 weight reduction. Slap on sport suspension to lower that ride height. We do brake kit. Yeah, we do brake kit. Slide into here, get some real cheap modifications going here. And obviously these tires are pretty cheap for this car. Anti-lag system. It is turbocharged, so going for anti-lag. Be kind of expensive, but worthwhile, honestly. Same intercooler. We want that. Honestly, yeah, I bet you that this car handles really nice. We're gonna actually see how this car performs. I bet you it's over 561. So it's a little overtuned for some stuff. I just want to see how this car performs with a slightly low, you know, I'm sure, you know, like those aren't really too crazy modifications. Dang, almost at 100 miles an hour. Doesn't handle corners the best. I bet weight reduction 2 would make this car, because it's already kind of light, it would make this car probably significantly lighter. Ooh, the Shelby Cobra. That's an American car. I bet you that's a legendary car. Too bad I won't be getting one of those anytime soon. Boom. Lower this down to a 1. Hop out with the cornering. You know, and I wanted something kind of compact, but something that's 4-door. You know, something with a little bit more legroom for my passengers. More comfortable than a Camaro, you know, but smaller than the Explorer. But sporty and fun. You know, this would be excellent to throw golf clubs in the back of this thing and treat this thing like a oversized golf cart, basically. You know, and that's basically kind of what it's going to be. And obviously, after a little bit of mini modification, you know, like cold air intake and a little tune, and you know, and I wouldn't even say it would need it. It already has a dual exhaust, so this little engine's breathing quite a bit. You know, yeah, I do appreciate German cars. You know, I do think they get underrated quite a bit. People tend to say they're unreliable and whatnot, but I just disagree. I like German cars as well. I definitely, in high school, I definitely asked me about BMW back in high school. BMW's overrated. It's dog shit. BMW was my first car. You know? And then I fell in love with it. What the fuck is a Ford GT? No fucking way. No fucking way we're racing a Ford GT in a Volkswagen Golf. There's no fucking way. Who thought this was balanced, dude? That car's unbeatable. I mean, look, dude, like, dude, we almost had it, sure. But, like, homie, gee, bro. That's a fucking Ford GT, dude. If we get close to almost having it, all the AI has to do is say, huh, not today. And decide just to go full throttle and send it. I mean, that's up to the AI, but, you know, this car is not going to compete against a Ford GT. I'm going to let the Ford GT win just because I don't want to defeat the Ford GT. It's my dream car. It's my favorite car. I worship the car. Not like in a religious way or anything like that, but I can't stand to see anything else beat that car just because it is the car. I accept second place. But holy fuck, dude. A learning experience, but you know, and the Volkswagen Golf is one of those cool hatchbacks. Honestly, it's one of the few hatchbacks that has made me accept hatchbacks, even though I would talk a lot of shit about them in my high school years and even my early 20s, which I'm still in my early 20s, by the way. Not much has really changed, just I have an appreciation for them. So much so that I'd like to own one. That's all. No more complicated than that. Let's upgrade the car a little more. Let's see what else we can get out of this. Oh, sports soft tires, high lift camshaft. I mean, sports clutch and flywheel. A solid upgrade. I'd say let's do the flywheel and stage 2 weight reduction. And Yep. Further increasing that power to weight ratio just by a little bit more. Yep. I'm sure we'll make something out of this car at some point. Let's go to the Japanese Expressway and see how this car performs there. Front wheel, rear wheel drive challenge. No, we need front wheel drive. Sunday Cup. We qualify. Alright, let's see what this baby can do. I mean, I'm sure the sound system in these things is pretty good. You know, I would want a good little sound system in a tiny car like this. You know, and I'd play like Rammstein. Oh, this is perfect for this little course. I'm gonna leave the car like this. I'm not even gonna do much more to the car. This car is perfect for this course, actually. I'm gonna do some stuff. I'm gonna modify my Explorer to try to push 300 horsepower out of the car, just because it's at 290. So pushing like 310 wouldn't really be too excessive, and I would try to get a few more foot-pounds of torque out of the thing, and try to get a little bit of MPG bonus out of it. So I'd modify the Explorer to at least be in the 300 horsepower range, and having a good amount of torque. And try to get back some of my miles per gallon on the Explorer. Those would be worthwhile modifications. The rest of the modifications would all be like functional, like, you know, obviously fog lights, roof lights, stuff like that. Volkswagen Das Auto. Okay, yeah, this thing isn't too crazy. My friend Caleb has a Nissan Versa that's a hatchback, and like it truly is not as impressive. Not dissing him or anything like that, you know, obviously, but just what I've seen of the car itself. Me and him just noticed that some of the body panels were kind of loose. There were just certain components that were just cheaply made, and so like when me and him were kind of like looking the car over, we just noticed some things that just didn't really sit right with us. But then again, you know, that could be any brand, you know. And again, he had to make a brutal decision where he only qualified for a few things, and that was one of them. And you know, ultimately speaking, it was also the cheapest car that he qualified for. So that's what he ended up getting. So I don't blame him. I'm not going to diss him. I'm not going to say his car is trash. You know, I have another friend that has a Nissan Versa, four-door sedan, like mini sedan. You know, it's still a compact car. You know, and it's still they get impressive MPG, probably way better MPG and longevity in terms of probably just a little bit more reliability and stuff like that over the Volkswagen Golf for sure. I'm positive. I'm almost certain of it. We got 40K for that. Way to go, Sully. We're at 574. How do we lower this? How do we lower it to 550? Sports hard. Sports medium. I'm gonna go with sports hard. a second. Holy shit, dude. We can actually compete in the, what do you call it? By doing what we just did, we can compete in the Clubman 500. Oh, I love that BMW, that 2003 M3. How beautiful. I wouldn't mind that being my first manual car, but with like an M3, like, you know, the insurance is going to be outrageous on that. And it's like, I want to be able to get something that's like cheap, something that wouldn't cost me, you know, I mean, I'm okay with adding an extra $25 to my current insurance plan to add an extra car, to bundle it together. I wouldn't mind that, especially if I find it cheaper insurance. Once I turn 25 and once the speeding tickets come off my record, and if I don't get any more, then my rates will drop down exponentially. Okay, alright, we gotta switch up our grip here. We gotta have at least 2 grip to kind of maintain a little bit of control. We're gonna run lean as well for our power, for our fuel mapping. of those seats. We got that car up our ass. We got a Miata up my ass. Damn, that car is up my fucking ass. That Miata really was up my fucking ass. I tried so hard not to let him pass. Jeez Louise. Alrighty, well, since they fucking power restricted us with some shit ass tires, how about we upgrade the car a little bit more?
Bye.